Good morning. Hi, welcome to Living in the Overflow. Today is going to be a great day. I have a great teaching for today. I'm not sure if this is going to be a chapter in my next book or I'm going to write a blog, but I'm going to do a series on the road to success. And if you've been paying attention to the things that I've been posting, I have been adding hashtag earn it, grow it, and keep it. And so I think that's where my expertise are the best in helping you. I mean, you're out there running your businesses, you're investing your money. And so I think my impartation to you is to help you grow it and keep it. And so I think that's where my specialty lies. And so, so I am going to be sharing some nuggets. I'm not sure if I'll focus that theme all year, but that's where I am right now. And so I have gotten some good nuggets today to share with you about earning, keeping, and growing your money. One of the things that I notice is that we are, as a society, as a country, we are in pursuit. Either pursuit of happiness, pursuit of wealth, pursuit of increase, pursuit of just different things in life. And so, and I've been on that journey myself over the years, but as I have gotten older, I'm finding out that God has given us such a simple path to follow, and that some of the things that I have pursued in life that I had all along, and all I had to do was just reach out and utilize what I already had. And so, I want to share that with you. And so, let's go ahead and get started. So, our theme so far for 2017 is to earn our money, to grow it, and then keep it. Because there are some people that will earn, like some people hit the lottery and they lose it because they never had that amount of money before, or they'll squander it, or they'll live the high life and spend, that's squandering, spending all that you have. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the things that I do is I always go back to the Word of God to find a reference point, to find instructions, to find, I'm calling it the roadmap to success, and you can find that roadmap. And the other thing is that there's multiple ways to the same destination. And so even if you chose just one area of one way to travel to get to your destination, like for instance, sowing and reaping. If you sow money, you'll reap money. I know you've heard the term that give and it shall be given unto you. And so it's very simple. It's very simple. So even if you just did as just being a giver of your time, a giver of your talent, a giver of your money, people are going to give you back money. If you give money, people are going to give you back money. If you give your time, people are going to give you their time. So that principle works for anybody. And so let's go ahead and get started so I'm not babbling on. I found a map online, and this is, don't pay attention to the wording, but here's most times when you see this is when people say, oh, I want to get wealth, I want to be rich. Generally, this is a good visual to say, okay, this is my starting point. I'm going to travel and to get the gold eventually, get the pot of gold, get the treasure of gold, to get the wealth. And so what the other thing that I'm finding out in life is that you may not have been told the full truth or have the full picture or have the full story. And so what I wanted to, I redesigned it. So this is my version of it. And so what I want to first say is this, is that when you start off in life, God designed you and put you here on earth, and he sent you here with everything you needed. He has equipped you for your journey. And so generally with the map, and I'll use this, we start here to get here. This is our destination. But what I want to propose to you is that we start here and our destination is up here. So what I'm saying is that God has given you the pot of gold already to get started. We start with that pot of gold or that bag of gold. And so I'm going to use, share a story with you, and let me just pull it up. And it's a story, it's called the parable. One thing about Jesus, he always told story. He was a storyteller. He told parables to get his meaning across. And so this one, the road to success, I'll use the parable of the bags of gold from Matthew's. I believe it's 25, starting with verse 14. And it says, and again, it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted them with their wealth, with his wealth. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags of gold, and to another 1 bag of gold, each according to his ability. Then he went on the journey. The man who had received the 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with the 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag of gold went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received the 5 bags of gold bought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I've gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with the 2 bags of gold did the exact same thing. He says, Lord, Master, you have entrusted me with these 2 bags of gold. See, I've gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then the man who had received the 1 bag of gold, Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gathered where I have not scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit and with the bankers, so that when I return, I would have at least received interest. So he took the bag of gold from him who he had given the 1, and had given that bag to the one who had the 10 bags. For whosoever will be, let me say it again, for whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even that which they have will be taken away from them, and throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And so I have heard that story, and for those of you that are on here that do attend church and have, read this story or have heard this story over and over again, please don't tune out. I want you to lean in, because I want to share something from that story that I didn't see until today. And so I knew that that was the scripture that I wanted to use for today's story. And so, like I said, when we start off, the master had wealth, and he gave it to his 3 servants. So that's why I'm saying we start off with the wealth, because God has given us the wealth. He has given it to us. And so we have 3 people. And so I want to ask you now, or use myself as an example. If you were to come to me and say, hey, Renee, I'm going away. Can you hold on to this money for me? And so by all means, I'm a trustworthy person. I'm responsible. And for you to ask me, you already know that. You already know that about me. So that's why you're asking me. So the first thing I'm going to do is put that money up, away, and protect it so that when you come back and ask for your money, that I'm going to give you back your money. And so that's one of the first things that you think about. Of course, I'll put your money up for you, and you wouldn't even think about investing it. So out of the 3, in my mind's eye, that's me. If you ask me to hold your money for you till you come back, I'm going to hold it. I'm not thinking, like I said, about investing the money. So the other 2 immediately start investing the owner's money. And so immediately went and started investing the money, and not just invested, but they doubled it. And so when the master came back to take account for the money, the first one came back with the 5 and said, hey, I have 10. The other one came back and had 4. And then the one came back that had the 1 came back with the 1 and said, Master, here it is. But it wasn't until that person actually explained the parable. And he said, Master, yes, I knew that you were... Let me pull it up again on my phone. I'm sorry. It doesn't stay up here. It was like, here is the bag of gold that you gave me. I buried it. I kept it for you. And he said, I knew you were a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gather where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. The one thing I want to point out, he said, Master, I knew. So the Lord just revealed to me today that these are 3 servants. They all knew the master. They all knew how the master made his wealth. They all knew. They worked closely with him. They probably were involved. The master probably delegated different jobs to them pertaining to his wealth throughout the time that they were hired from the master. So they all knew how he made his money. And so this is where the story unfolds. The other 2 knew how he made it, and they just kept doing business as usual. They probably was in charge of the wealth. So they just went ahead and practiced, or not practiced, but they went and put into motion immediately. Because you would think that in order to take somebody's money and invest it, or take someone's money and do business with it, you would think that would be a courageous move, a bold move, that you would have to be confident in that decision that you made to use the master's money. You had to know that you had the ability to increase the money or to increase the wealth. And so that's where, in the story, it starts off that as he was dishing out his wealth for them to maintain it until when he got back, he gave them, he entrusted them with his wealth. And he gave, just going back through the story, and it says he gave according to their abilities. So they all had the ability at the beginning. They had, here's the wealth. So what I'm saying is that instead of going after something that you already have, chasing after, pursuing after the pot of gold, that's the picture that has been painted throughout our lives, that, we're going to go after a pot of gold. There's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That's why people play the lottery. That's why people do different things, because in their mind's eye that there's this pot of gold. But what I'm saying to you is that God has already given us a portion of his wealth to do something with. And so, in today's vernacular, your business, your job, your whatever, he's giving you that amount. And I know that there's some people that, and I'll save that part for later, but he gives you the ability to take his wealth and multiply it. And so it's up to you. You decide you make a decision like, you know what? I'm going to follow the pattern that he set for me to make and multiply the wealth. And so, like I said, these were servants of the master. We don't know how long they worked for him, but they worked there long enough to see the process on how that master made the money. And basically it was saying that, he would gather in fields where he didn't even sow a seed in. If you sow a seed, I talked about it in one of my postings. You plant one apple seed, it's not gonna grow just one apple. We're talking about the law of multiplication. You sow a seed and that apple is going to give you multiple apples that will have multiple seeds. So that's the law of multiplication, that you're not just going to get one. You sow something, somebody gives you if I give you an apple seed and you plant it, you're not just going to reap one apple. You're going to get a multiple of apples that will have multiple seeds in there. And so they knew how that master made his wealth. So when that master went away, they just continued on as good servants and good stewards and continued with the process that the master did to make the wealth. And so that's why they were able to double the wealth. So the other important nugget in the story is that they could have did the same exact thing, because the master didn't give them any instructions. He said, just hold on unto my wealth. I'm going away. I'll be back. And that was it. He didn't say, go out there and multiply, go out and increase, bury. He didn't give any instructions at the beginning of the story. But those servants knew what to do. They knew what to do, and they did it. So even though that they doubled the amount of wealth that the, I'll say employer and call you the employee, that the employer had entrusted them with, they could have came back with the same amount, just like the person with the one. But the thing is, they came back with their gain. So whatever the Lord gives you and blesses you with, just know that that entire package, including your gain, all belongs to him. The first part belongs to him, but the second part belongs to you. But it's their attitude. They came back. They could have easily kept the part that grew, but they came back with the gain, the part that they gained, and said, here's yours. And look what I did. I gained more wealth for you. They didn't have to do that. They already had the formula inside of them, the process that, they could have disappeared, but they didn't. They stayed and remained faithful to the task, their job, their whatever they were entrusted with. And that's the key thing, that the gain part of it, that you also say, here, Lord, this belongs to you too. And in doing so, they received something that was given to them. Give and it shall be given to you. So they went out and earned. They went on the journey. The one that had 2 earned 2 more. The one that had 5 had earned 5 more. That's part of earning. That God, whatever God gives you, your talent, your time, however you gain your resources, that you show your resourcefulness your creativity, your discipline, you're putting in the work. They had to put work in. They had to apply the principle. And so they had faith, so much faith in the principle, that there was no doubt in their mind that they could take their master's money and double it. And so that gives, that's where that confidence comes from, that that this process worked, that the word of God is tried and true, and that when you apply it, when you do follow the instructions, that the end results is a reward. And you may not know what the reward is, but the story does tell what the reward was. That here's the person that had one. He's still here. He has his bag of gold. And I hope I am holding this up good, of wealth. There's his shovel. He buried his. The other two, now at the end, not only because they were willing to give the part that they had gained, even though rightfully they could have kept it, it was theirs. They earned it. They worked for it. They grew it. They grew their portion of it. They could have kept theirs and gave back the other part. But what they did was, you know what? Here's yours. And look what I did. I used your principle. I followed your example and I doubled it. I used how you made your wealth and boom, look what happened. And he was like, oh, good and faithful servant, you've been faithful over a few things. I'll make you ruler over many. And at the end, do you see what happened at the end? That the master never took back his wealth or the extra. The people were able to keep the master's wealth plus their wealth. And then the one that had one and did nothing, that the one that said, you know what, I refuse to follow your process. I decided that, you know what, I'm not going to do what you did. Matter of fact, I'm kind of fearful of what you did. And so I didn't do it, which is fine. We have our own will. We have our own, we can make our own decisions. But at the end, the master took what that one person had and gave it to the one who had 10. So the one who had 2 kept the wealth of the master and the wealth of that they earned. They were able to keep it. The one that had 10 kept the 5 that the master gave them, plus the 5 that they earned and grew. They were able to keep that 10, all of it, the whole 10, and then received an additional 1 from the one that did nothing. And so you'll find in investments, there's some people that won't do nothing. There's some people that will play to win. And there are some people that will go into the process of there's 3 types of investors. One that will not do anything at all. There's one who will invest to not to lose. And also there's people that invest to win. And so just keep that in mind. And I hope that these nuggets bless you as they have blessed me. I will be sharing a series showing you that we have everything that we need. And I'll show you how there's many roads to our destination. And whichever one you choose, you can't help but be wealthy if you apply the principles and, earn it, grow it, and then keep it. And so I also want to interject too is that, a lot of times when we do come into a lump sum of money, we immediately start listing in our minds the things that we are going to do with the money. And so the other 2 did not do that. They did not do that. They were servants. And so they came into money that they could have easily, went on vacation. That could have been their last day of work. There's people that always say, oh, if I win $1 million, that would be my last day. I wouldn't even come back to work tomorrow. when there's a big pot. But just know that we're not pursuing a pot at the end of our journey. We get the pot at the beginning of our journey. And so with that said, it's up to us to carry out, be responsible. Just know that that pot is not our wells. We may, double it. And if so, be willing, have the mindset, have the heart to say, you know what, Lord, the plus, even the surplus is yours. What I start off with is yours. And, and if you go to church, we pay 10% of our earnings. But you know what? There's a lot of people that have a problem paying the 10%. But go in with the mindset that the whole 100% belongs to God, period. If he were to ask for it, be willing to give it. And then if you're, you grow the money that he has given you, that growth is also his. And at the end of the journey, guess what? It all is yours. It's all yours. It's because your mindset is that this is not mine. I'm here to do what God is telling me to do. And so I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this, again, has blessed you as it has blessed me. Bye for now.